It's recording? Yeah, it is. Hello, my lovely audience. Welcome to another video. So, yeah. I kinda was running out of ideas, inspiration, so I just went ahead and did a little revamping with an old what if of mine. Well, an old what if that I had the idea for, but ultimately scrapped. Yeah. So, what is Asura's Wrath? It's a game from, well, the early God of War era, so like 2008. And sweet fuck, I want a remastered version of that shit. It was glorious. I can just imagine the game in, like, The Last of Us graphics, and honestly, it would be fucking glorious. Like, it would be beautiful. It would be Akaza versus Rengoku HD type shit. Like, fuck, the fights in that game were fucking fantastic. Like, really. There was this whole segment in it where you were basically playing a Japanese anime. Like a 1996 Japanese anime. Oh my fucking goodness, that game was perfect. Please! I want a remastered version. Check the game out. Fucking check it out. Holy shit. Holy shit, like... Good grief, that game was incredible. Now, I want to just warn you. Your eyes will not deceive you in the first boss fight. It is the first boss fight and not the last. Emphasis on it is the first. Like, Wizen is holy shit. Yeah. But let's just carry on from that, because I could honestly spend like 30 minutes ranting about how fucking incredible that game is. Holy shit. One of the characters, I won't spoil their name, is Gin from Bleach on steroids. On fucking roids. They make Gin look like a mouse compared to an elephant in terms of sword. And no, there is not a sex game there's not a sex scene in that game. I mean literal sword. I mean katana. Like, Gin from Bleach has nothing on that man. That off-brand Ganondorf, actually, technically, since Asura's Wrath came out before Breath of the Wild and, well, not Breath of the Wild, you get what I mean, I forgot what its name is, but it came before, the most recent Zelda games. So technically, Ganondorf is an off-brand version of him. Especially I just thought of a random meme, but especially considering this certain character. He's greed. Yes, there's a 7 deadly sins dynamic in the game. I'll get to that. Yeah, he's greed. Yeah. Yeah, he could rock Ganondorf's world. Like, really. Oh my fuck. But yeah, let's just get on with the actual fucking video. Let me just explain some things really quick before I start off the what if. Actually, no, I'll do some explaining later on in the what if. So then, our what if starts with... Give me a moment. A man who looks like he's the justice hobo. Like, he looks like he's going through a rough divorce. Despite having a very well-kept scarf, would just be looking at a file, as he would say, "This is the kid." The officer in front of him would nod, say, "Yeah, it is." Honestly kind of brutal, considering a few weeks ago we thought he was quirkless. Aizawa would look at the files, well, files, plural. Izuku Midoriya. Previously thought to be quirkless. About I don't know, like 14? Yeah, this is at the start of the anime. 14 years old, green hair, with a light blue, with two different eye colors. One being light blue, the other being a lime green. Zuko's pupils are also slit. So yeah, that's everything that's with Zuko that's different in this what if than the usual ones. Okay. His hair is a darker shade of green. Okay. Like the lighter bits are darker. Okay. But yeah. Anyway, so yes, Zuko would have thought to have been quirkless for his entire life. That was until about a week ago, when, well, a certain gang started troubling him and a girl named Lilia. Now, Lilia's parents were illegal immigrants in Japan, and, well, from the States, of course. And, well, they named her before getting arrested. Considering she was born in Japan, she would be put into the foster care system, along with Izuku, who was put up for adoption. Now, before you ask, no, Lilia is not the ship. She's like 5, so it would be very weird if I did that. Yeah, the one place I won't go is pedo protagonists. Like, I dip into the territories of pedo with my what ifs. With my what ifs, I dip into that general area, but I don't go into the deep end, aka pedo protagonists. Okay. The reason I'm saying this is because, well, the gang leader was actually a pedo. It was believed to have been because of his quirk, putting him, well, his quirk. It's called leopard seal. Now, when a leopard seal is horny, it'll fuck anything. And I do mean anything. Leopard seals, when horny, fuck penguins. Doesn't matter if they're male, female, or child. They do it, then eat them. So, yeah. If a male leopard seal can't get it off with a female, it'll take its frustrations out on just about anything. Even rocks. So, yeah. It was just a type of wrong place at the wrong time situation with Izuku and Lilia. Now, quick little bit of exposition. Izuku and Lilia are close. Considering, well, Izuku was thought to be quirkless, and Lilia was thought to have a very minor quirk enhancement quirk. Yeah, they kind of only had each other, because as we all know, society doesn't treat those with either weak quirks or, or no quirks that well. Especially since quirk hierarchy. Oh, come on, it's one of my favorite story aspects to just add in, because, I tend to like dark stories, and the quirk hierarchy is kind of the pepper to my salt, if you get it. But, yeah. So, what happened a week ago? Well, Izuku and Lilia were, well, out at about 8 at night, still needing to sell a few things for some of the individuals who run the orphanage. And before you ask, these things come in little packets and are blue and dust-like. You can put together the rest. As you can guess, yeah. But, yeah. The gang leader that Izuku and Lilia were selling these packets to, as you would put them, took a liking to Lilia, and one thing led to another. Izuku got stabbed and got angry. He felt violent and angry and irrational and kind of horny. Yeah, I can't. 7 deadly sins, or the 8 mantra types, more like it. But yeah. Izuku, well, after getting stabbed and left to bleed out on the floor, whilst, well, Mr. Lion Shark, well, dragged off Lilia to his quarters for some games. Every time I make a pedo reference in one of my videos, another piece of me dies. It's reached a point where I'm just a walking, rotting corpse. Anyway, so, yeah. Izuku got angry. Very angry. And, well, an odd pattern would form on his body as he got angrier and more violent feeling, and more just in general. He felt so irrationally angry and mad and wrathful. Along with that, he just felt pure, undisputed violence coursing through him, which caused something odd to happen. Izuku seemed to heal. The injury from, well, his stab wound seemed to regenerate pretty quickly. Almost instantly, in fact. He would stand up and slowly walk towards the gang leader, hunched over. Gang leader would turn around, scoff, and take out a fucking gun. Just a fucking gun. And pull the trigger. Now, what he didn't account for is Izuku gaining a fucking massive ass arm. This fucking massive ass thing. Like, fucking tremendously large. And it would cause him to stagger forward a bit. But the bullet would, smash against this bullshit and bounce right off. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, I request assistance. I want to use this picture for What If, but I don't know what to do, so help me out. But yeah. Anyway. Fuck, this is such a cool piece of art. But yes. The bullet would bounce right off of Izuku's arm. Then in a red glow of light, his one massive arm would be replaced with, well, not these, but yeah, not these yet. With 6 more. With 6 separate arms. Izuku, in a blind fit of, well, wrath, would massacre. Not knock out. Not kill. Not slaughter. Massacre the gang. There was not one member left. The entire time, his body felt like it was on fire, like his skin was being replaced forcefully with stone, being melted onto it. And, well, the more Izuku killed, the more angry he got, the more wrathful he felt, the more gold would forcibly weld itself onto his arm, seemingly from nowhere. It hurt so much, which only pushed his anger, his wrath, his violent insights more and more. Eventually, after a while, he would pass out. This was, well, after he finally, well, ripped in half the last gang member. And, well, Lyra, as I called her, was already passed out herself. Let's just say the gang leader had a thing for unconscious women. Yeah, he was a shit person. Like, just no doubts about it. He was a shit person because of, well, mostly because of his quirk, making him of an asshole once he's horny, and also just society in general. Problem with the quirk hierarchy, makes shit people, which only fuels the quirk hierarchy further, and this entire thing. So, yeah. Well, you know, the police don't know what to file it as because it was a quirk awakening, that's obvious, and his quirk seems to run off of anger or some kind of emotion. Yet, he was quirkless for a long time, and his quirk is most probably a transformation type, which is the second on the quirk hierarchy. There's like 4 spots, and transformation is like the middle class on there. So they don't know what to do, which is why they brought Aizawa in. Anyway, Zuko's been pretty quiet. He was quietly sitting in a chair, bound to a table, as Aizawa read his file. Zuko, well, you know, isn't exactly paying attention to him. He's more so wondering how Lyra is doing. You know, she's kind of the only reason he even bothers anymore. You know, with Katsuki's abuse and all that. And, you know, the people who run the orphanage being drug dealers. Yeah, he really just had a shit life. Before you ask, yes, the orphanage, people running the orphanage were arrested for child abuse and misconduct and embezzlement and dealing drugs. Some of them were murderers from, like, cases from 5 years ago. One person was... I don't want to say what the one person was out loud. You can just assume it yourself. I'm not saying it out loud. Even I have my limits, and... Who am I kidding? You all know I'm a heartless monster. I'm a heartless, sadistic bastard. Necrophiliac, and a pedophile. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't because of his quirk. He was just like that. Anyway, oh my goodness, I'm such a terrible person. Anyway, let's just continue on with the what if and totally ignore that little bit. Death row. Anyway. Yeah. Izuku is, you know, being all depressed and mopey in his chair, thinking about Lyra, his, at this point, pretty much daughter. And, well, Lyra is much of the same. You know, the press, being the press and trying to frame Izuku as the villain. Because it's the press. It's the fucking press. I can't really say that much. They're trying to frame him as the villain, so they're trying to get a confession out of her about abuse or something like that. And all they're fucking getting is, I miss him. He always used to give the best hugs and forehead kisses. He spent, like, his entire salary on getting me nice things like chocolates and blankets and a fucking and a pillow. Didn't even get that. We were saving up to get a nice we were saving up to get a nice, like, 2-bed wide blanket so we could both, like, sleep together so I don't have horrible nightmares anymore. Like, that's all they're getting. That is all they're fucking getting. They are just getting the most wholesome, sweet shit imaginable. And considering the press want to frame him as a villain with an actual confession and all that shit, they're naturally very disappointed in the fact that Lyra only has good things to say about him. Anyway, so, yeah. Aizawa would eventually rule that it's a quirk awakening, so Izuku shouldn't have to worry. They shouldn't throw him into prison because it's not like he could control his quirk the first time he used it. I can imagine Bakugo accidentally blowing someone to Kingdom Come when his quirk first awakened. I can imagine Todoroki accidentally impaling someone on an ice spike when his quirk first awakened. Like, quirk singularity and all that shit. People have... Yeah. Just, like, your quirk awakening is... like a one-time get-out-of-jail-free card for property damage and insurance fraud and murder. There are, rules to it, so your quirk has to either just suddenly awaken or drive you berserk. But if you have control over it from, the start, and just pretty good control from the moment it awakens, you ain't getting that out-of-jail-free card. One-time use out-of-jail-free card. You ain't getting it. The quirk has to be uncontrollable the first time you use it. First time it awakens, first whatever. So, yeah. Aizawa would rule in, favor of that. And, take Izuku along with him to go fetch Lyra. Because Aizawa wants to have a little talk with Izuku. So, after a while and a touching reuniting between Izuku and Lyra, which only made the press more depressed. Depressed press. But yeah, it only made them more depressed at the thought of, at what they're looking at. They can't exactly frame this as, Izuku being an evil person. So, yeah. Aizawa would take Izuku and Lyra to a Katsudan stand on the side of the road. It's like sunset. And, Aizawa would start prying from information from Izuku. So, what's your name? What? Your name? Izuku would look down at his bowl of Katsudan and sigh and say, "You already read my file, you get my shit. What do you want?" Oh, yeah. Aizawa would get a light smirk as he would say, "Straightforward. That's a good trait to have." I'm curious. I know the files. I know that, quirk hierarchy is pretty shit. Considering, my quirk's pretty villainous by normal standards. Yeah, you're the pro-hero racerhead, right? You look at someone and their quirk is temporarily deactivated until you blink. Oh, you know me. Not very many people do. Zuko would sigh, a light smirk on his face as he would say, "Yeah, I idolized All Might for a few years, but, well, after a while and, well, after him telling me I could never be a hero, well, Zuko would kind of scratch the back of his head, a bit embarrassed. I started idolizing, well, you once I learned you fight quirkless and hand to hand. Never thought I would have a quirk, though. It's odd, really." Sour would respond after taking a few bites from his katsudon. Yes, I know katsudon is like noodles in a bowl. I know. I don't know what the term is for picking up noodles, eating it, and doing that a few times. If you know what it is, tell me in the comments. But Aizawa would chuckle and say, well, whilst eating, and say, "I guess you just want me to get to the point, eh?" Zuko would sigh and say, "Yeah, that would be preferable, considering this is feeling more like you're stalling for something than anything else." Sour would just kind of sigh with a small smirk on his face. You know, Zuko kind of had a traumatic week, and he doesn't want to be an asshole. So, yeah. Aizawa would just say, say back, "Yeah, I do. Well, yeah, that makes sense. So, look, I know what situation you were in, and I know that quirk awakenings can be interesting. I know even more so that after your little outburst, the press and other people are most likely trying to frame you as a villain as we speak, meaning it's going to be pretty hard for you to get into UA. Now, I usually work with vigilantes and all that jazz, an underground hero, and, well, I get my arms pretty deep in some pretty nasty jobs. Not like drug dealing, like just pretty, non-pressable cases, as you would say. Necrophiliac. That one guy in the orphanage who I talked about earlier. Yeah. Anyway. And no, I was not saying Aizawa was a necrophiliac. I was referring to the person I mentioned in the orphanage earlier. Zuko would sigh and say, "Just get to the point, please. I'm sorry. Just feel angry recently." Sour would say, "What? Yeah, makes sense. Quirks tend to have an effect on people's personalities. What I'm saying is, I want to help you. I want to train you. If I knew about your existence before your quirk awakening, even then I would probably do it. You haven't given up on wanting to be a hero, right?" Zuko would chuckle and scratch the back of his neck and say, "Yeah, even though I, don't want to go to UA anymore, or at least wasn't planning to. I was planning on becoming, like, a vigilante. Just using a crowbar and some, like, quirk-made gear. Maybe a few taekwondo lessons. Well, actually, yeah, I have taken taekwondo lessons in the past. This is Zuko talking, not me. All that shit, I guess. Had to scrounge up a lot of money for him, though, but yeah, you get what I mean. I was planning on becoming a vigilante. Without the fame and all the glory and money of being a hero, but at least I'd be helping out. And I'd definitely be helping out more than All Might." Zuko would get very annoyed at the mention of All Might's name, earning a grimace from Aizawa as he would say, "Yeah, Aizawa, yeah, All Might's a pretty big hypocrite. But, you know, okay. Okay, meet me at Dagobah Beach tomorrow. We'll be training your hand-to-hand combat skills, physical strength, all that shit. For about, how long? How long is the 9 months training arc? Oh shit. 9 months training arc. I literally just said it. Oh, I'm dumb. At least I think it's 9 months. To my knowledge, it is 9 months. Once again, haven't watched the first season of MHA in 2 years, so yeah. I have a pretty good memory if I say so myself. But yeah. Give me a moment. Back. So, yeah. Anyway, Aizawa would say, for about 4 months we'll be training your body and your hand-to-hand combat skills in case you ever meet an opponent like me who can just deactivate your quirk. Along with that, for 4 months, and, well, for the next 5 months, we'll be working on your quirk itself. More specifically, your arms and how to control it. Your quirk seems pretty powerful, and from what I gathered, it's stockpiling quirk. Most likely passive, considering your little outburst. So, yeah, we'll be training you and your arms so you can use different fighting styles on the fly. Something else that, well, I gathered from your account of the incident is, well, your quirk works off of good grief, brain axis has stopped. Your emotions, so we'll have to try and put you through different things to see if they if they alter your body, or oh good grief, brain axis has stopped. If they alter your body in any different ways, and, well, etc., etc. I don't really need to get into the fanatics right now. So, how does it sound? Zuko would take a few moments to consider it before taking Aizawa's hand and shaking it fervorously, like violently shaking it, so much that Aizawa just starts, like, something out of a cartoon where Aizawa is lifted into the air and put back on his seat repeatedly, as Izuku would repeatedly say, "Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes, thank you, I won't disappoint you." Lila's just in the background enjoying her Katsudan, not paying attention to a single word, but when she heard Izuku's outburst of, like, thank yous, she would just kind of turn to face them and just stand up in her chair. Like, she's short, small, because, malnutrition. Classic things. Classic Metalita what-if things. She's small, as she would just bow and say, "Thank you so much, sir." Like, people are starting to give Aizawa weird looks as he would just go, "It's okay. It's fine. Just let's make this a bit. Let's just save the thank yous for somewhere more private. Please, I don't need another lawsuit on my hands." Zuko would just kind of stop shaking him. Well, he stopped shaking Aizawa up and down a little bit ago, as he would just kind of look at it, Aizawa, tilt his head and say, "Are you going through a divorce?" Well, I forgot what voice I gave him. "Are you going through a divorce?" Aizawa would be like, "No, I'm not. I'm married." "Oh, who's your wife?" I, do you have anywhere to stay?" Izuku would shrug and say, I'll probably be kicked from the orphanage, and, well, no one's gonna really want to take in a murderer, but what does that have to do with my question? Ah, yeah. It's about my, wife. She's Miss Joke. Zuko would just kind of put his hands on his face. Just the classic Deadpool. I knew it! Aizawa would just kind of, like, accept his fate at this point, just kind of slumping forward as Zuko starts fanboying the fuck out, earning a few odd glances from the local passerbyers, but one glance from either Izuku or Aizawa, just intense Asura stare, and they politely fuck off. But yes, yeah. In case you're curious, yes, I do some gay Aizawa ships. Well, gay, I mean Aizawa, Eraserhead X Present Mike, but I also do some Eraserhead X Miss Joke in there too. Two kind of main ships, even though I feel like Aizawa X Miss Joke, well, yeah, just gets thrown under the bus a lot. I don't know why, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah. About 15 likes for part 2. Also, if I said that in another video and it has that amount of likes within a week, tell me. But yeah, the maximum time for this to be, I guess, good, like a coupon, I guess, is about a week. So, yeah. Also, quick thing before I go. Brain Dioxia stopped. Yeah, 20 likes if you want it to be a full-length series. Once again, week of time. You have a week of time. Also, you could just technically get each video to 15 likes every time I post it, and lo and behold, it becomes a full-length series. So, yeah, I guess that'll be a thing too, but yeah, anyway, goodbye, my lovely, lovely audience. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!